We have a quick question from Asanka asking how we can prepare for events like the upcoming US elections, which is now less than 2 weeks away. Asanka further asks whether it's a good idea to close any current trades that we have open at that time. And is it better to rather avoid trading on November the 3rd altogether? So thanks for the question, Asanka. It's a really good question, and I think we can expand on this for any major market event like this, not only just the November 3rd election. So in terms of the questions about open trades and whether you should close them, I think this will largely depend on the type of trades that you have open at that time. So if you have any long-term positions running, they will most probably already be positioned to some extent for the expectations going into the next year or going into the next quarters. In our case right now, it's obviously expectations going into 2021, for example. So in that case, just reducing exposure to these trades might be a good idea and good enough. For all the other trades that are just regular swing trades or day trades, I would say it's a really good idea to go into that type of event flat due to the risk that can develop going into it and coming out of it, and then what type of volatile swings might develop directly afterwards. So this also comes back to the other part of your question about whether it's best to avoid the event altogether. So for some traders, these events are really their niche, right? And they will probably want to stay up for the whole event and trade either into it or out of it or both. Now, the tricky part for events like this is that it's not like a central bank meeting that might only take an hour or 3 to play out. It's an event that will take a couple of hours to play out. And depending on the outcome, let's say, for example, it's a contested outcome, that's something that can take days and weeks to actually play out, right? So within that time, as the numbers roll in on that day itself, there can be quite a lot of volatile swings in the market as things develop. So personally, for me, I would rather wait until a clear outcome is announced before I would consider trading an event like that. I think there's so much going on in the markets around these events that there's a lot of risks associated with a day like that. And apart from the obvious expectations going into it, we also need to consider the possibility of events like this creating a possible buy the rumor, sell the fact reaction in the market, which can see things chop around quite violently and chop any trades that you have running completely in the opposite direction, right? So personally, events like this can really change the market's landscape for a couple of weeks and months and quarters and years even possibly, which means that there should be plenty of opportunities to trade after the outcome is clear. And for me personally, that means that I'm not going to be too pressured to want to trade an event like that, but rather trade afterwards when things become a little bit more clearer and a little bit less volatile. Now, in terms of preparing for these types of events, the best way, Asanka, that I approach events like this is by finding and reading any and every investment bank and proper market strategist article or commentary or analysis about the event that I can find. Obviously, don't just read anything from anybody. Be selective in what type of stuff you read. So, for example, stick to investment bank analysts to make sure that you are getting good quality content and information. And then make sure you try to read analysis that shares a different view on the event. So for me, it's always a bit worrisome, for example, if I read a couple of analysis or a preview of a particular event, and every single piece of analysis or commentary is expecting the exact same thing from that event. You want to get a view from different opinions on an event like that to make sure that you cover more possible angles so that you're not surprised on the day if things suddenly take a turn that you didn't expect. So try to build out a couple of possible tradable scenarios as well. If you're planning to trade the event itself, have a couple of possible scenarios already planned out so that you cover different bases. That way you'll be better prepared for different outcomes and will be better prepared to take advantage of them, more importantly, as they happen in real time. So I hope that helps with the question, Asanka. Any other ones, please don't hesitate to let us know.